Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV, Baba Bagede Imo TV. I am yours faithfully, Mo Bire Regila Lawal. First are the major headlines for the world news. Electoral Act. Court orders Malami to delete Section 84(12) gives reasons. ASU rollover strike. Bauchi traders, landlords groan as varsity students vacate hostels. It's worrisome to have 10.5 million out-of-school children in Nigeria. Mila. Women Coalition storms Ogun Assembly, demands more access to health care governance. Tension averted at FMC as court dismisses disqualification suit against MD Musa Olomu. NURTW crisis once threatened security, Lagos government assures. FAN confirms immigration officer extorted 14-year-old girl. Glass tumbler found in woman's bladder for 4 years after she used it as a sex toy. Into foreign story, UK slams Russian dirty tricks as fake Ukrainian PM calls defense secretary. In sports, Nigerians want to win every trophy. Now the news in detail. The Abia State Division of the Federal High Court, sitting in Umuahia on Friday, ordered the Attorney General of the Federation, ADF, Abubakar Malami, to delete Section 84(12) of the amended Electoral Act without delay. Justice Evelyn Anyadike ordered Malami to delete the section of the Electoral Amendment Act forthwith because it's unconstitutional. In her judgment, Justice Anyadike held that the section was unconstitutional, invalid, illegal, null, void, and of no effect whatsoever, and ought to be struck down as it cannot stand when it is in violation of the clear provisions of the Constitution. She added that the Attorney General of the Federation forthwith delete the said Section 12 of Section 84 from the body of the Electoral Act 2022. President Muhammadu Buhari recently signed the amended Electoral Act. He appealed to the National Assembly to delete the provision claiming that it violated the Constitution and breached the rights of government appointees. Still on national issue, the decision by the Academic Staff Union of Universities to prolong its strike till May this year has started taking a toll on some segments of the South society in Bauchi State. Market women and landlords in the Yelwa axis of Bauchi metropolis, a suburban area in Bauchi, which hosts two tertiary institutions of learning, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, ATBU, and the Federal Polytechnic, whose aggregate student population runs into thousands, are now lamenting over the loss they are incurring as a result of the forced closure of the two institutions. With the presence of the two higher institutions of learning, there exists a large market for foodstuff and groceries, as well as high demand for accommodation by students. As a result, many investors have built various types of houses to meet the housing needs of the student population that has sprung up in Yelwa. However, following the impasse in negotiations between the federal government and ASU, Yelwa market women and landlords are reeling in pain. They told Arewa Voice that the inability of the federal government and ASU to resolve their issues are thrown to a spark in the wheel. Market women and landlords in student-populated areas have now joined students to pray for an end to the strike as their means of livelihood now hang in the balance. A provisions dealer at the Yelwa market, Alice Ibrahim, who now depends solely on polytechnic students for patronage, said that our sales have dropped significantly since ATBU students joined the strike action. Appeal to the federal government and asking to agree on something so that this strike can be called off. My son, who attends ATBU, is now at home with nothing to do. I don't want him to mix with bad boys at home, and that's why I have mandated him to join me in the shop after his breakfast so that it can be more useful to me. Another trader who gives accounts every morning these days during our prayer time will pray for this strike to end so that we can return to our normal lives. With this hard economy, we are still experiencing low sales. It is like letting or getting double punishment for a crime you know nothing about. Now that they have said that they will continue the strike, I don't know what to do, Saleh said in disappointment. So another dimension, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has described as worrisome report that about 10.5 million children are out of school in Nigeria. It stated these during the flag off of the enrollment of 500 children in schools, as well as a free medical outreach to 10,000 residents in Zamfara State. The speaker, who was represented by his chief of staff, Garba Rikiji, described as unacceptable the alarming rate of out-of-school children in the country. He said it is a time bomb that leaders and concerned citizens must join hands together to address before it explodes. So another angle of the story, scores of women under a coalition have stormed the complex of the Ogun State House of Assembly, demanding access to health care and governance ahead of 2023 elections. The Coalition of Women Association in the state, led by its vice president, Mrs. Fumilayo Oguniyi, was on an advocacy visit in commemoration of this year's International Women's Day. The coalition called on all mothers and guardians in the state to enroll in the state health insurance scheme to guarantee them access to qualitative primary health care service. In a presentation, the vice president, Coalition of Women Association in Ogun State, said the group was poised to discussing and advancing women's achievements and raise awareness on the elimination of violence against women and campaign against maternal mortality. She also commended the Assembly for its legislative strike, which had brought about tremendous improvement in the budgetary allocation to the health sector in recent time. Responding to the coalition, the Speaker, Olakunle Oluomo, assured them of the renewed support of the 9th legislature on issues bordering on access to qualitative health care services and promotion of gender equality. Oluomo noted that the Assembly since its inception had always been realigning the annual budget of the state to give more priority to the health sector, especially the primary health care, owing to its importance to the grassroots people. Still in Ogun State, a palpable tension was averted at the Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, on Thursday, following the dismissal of a disqualification suit filed against the medical director of the center, Professor Adewale Musa Olomu. Platform Times gathered that a former second vice president of Nigerian Bar Association, Dr. Monde Ubani, had threatened to drag the federal government before the court for allegedly renewing the appointment of Musa Olomu as MD of the center, despite an alleged indictment against him. Ubani's threat was actualized by a non-governmental organization, All Youth Reoriented Initiative of Nigeria, which dragged Musa Olomu to the court challenging his reappointment. Platform Times further gathered that the case with suit number FHCAB CS/100/21 was dismissed in its entirety for lack of local standing and non-disclosure of reasonable cause of action against Musa Olomu, who was the second defendant in the case. The NGO had, through an originating summon filed on the 31st of August 2021, sought for an order restraining the ministry from recommending Musa Olomu for reappointment as MD of the center on the alleged abuse of office, overreach, and alleged discrepancies in his names. It sought for an order of the court to declare Musa Olomu as not qualified to be recommended for appointment on the reason of his age, and an order directing his immediate retirement on the ground that he had attained 60 years of age. In case you're just joining, you are watching the world news from BGI TV. The Lagos State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Benga Omotosho, has assured Lagosians that the crisis rocking the National and State Council of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, would not threaten security in the state. Mr. Omotosho says a committee will be set up to handle the affairs of all parks so that law-abiding citizens can go about their daily activities without fear. NURTW operates in a sector that has relevance to everybody living in Lagos, which is transportation. However, they are just a union of artisans and the likes, but not a force that cannot be controlled by the government, the commissioner said. Describing the excesses of the NURTW, the commissioner said the government suspended the operation to avert a crisis that may arise from the disagreement between the national body and the local chapter. Security agencies have been detailed to maintain peace, he added. Omotosho again reassured Lagosians that the government is on top of the security of its citizens at motor parks as the activities of the NURTW remain suspended. On the slain 22-year-old lady Bamishe, who disappeared after riding a BRT bus and was later found dead. The commissioner said the governor of Babajide Sanwo-Olu personally commiserated with the family and promised that justice would be done in the unfortunate matter. He noted that the BRT buses are still very safe since the deployment of the Cowrie card in 2020. The buses have ferried over 40 million passengers. This is the first time this has happened, and it is regrettable. And to another story from Lagos State, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria (FAN) has confirmed the report that some immigration officers extorted money from a 14-year-old girl that was en route to Canada. In a series of tweets via a handle at Imoteda, the mother of the girl on February 19, 2022, explained that her daughter was traveling on Qatar Airlines when two officials of the Nigerian Immigration Service extorted a sum of 8,000 naira from her daughter. They took money from a 14-year-old girl, didn't even leave her with 1 kobo or 1,000 naira so she can buy food while she waits, she wrote. I am so hungry. A child, why are you stealing money from a child? Following the allegations, the FAN aviation security officers were, however, commissioned to investigate the accusations. In a statement by the Acting General Manager, Corporate Affairs, Faithful O. Eve Blaze, the accusations were through and officers involved were identified with the help of CCTV footage. Upon investigation, they found the allegation to be true, and the officers involved were identified with the help of footages on our CCTV facility and cooperation from the Nigerian Immigration Service. Consequently, the officers were made to refund the exact amount collected from the passenger. Their on-duty cards were also withdrawn permanently, and they have been banned from working in any Nigerian airport to serve as deterrent to others, the statement read. So, another similar foreign story. A glass tumbler has been found inside a woman's bladder who doctors thought had a urinary tract infection, UTI. According to the New York Post, the 45-year-old woman had come to the hospital complaining of typical lower UTI symptoms such as leaking. But doctors were left stunned when scans revealed there was a glass inside her bladder. It was encased by an 8 centimeter wide, 3-inch wide bladder stone, which are normally so small they are hard to see with the naked eye. The woman from Tunisia revealed she had used the drinking glass as a sex toy a number of years before. NYP further wrote that evidently she had inserted it into the urethra, the hole from which female urinate, rather than the vagina. Our case was published in the medical journal, including the astonishing scan and an image of the glass and bladder stone. The patient arrived at the emergency department at Academic Hospital Abib Bokuba complaining of UTC symptoms. She reported that she had suffered cyst inflammation of the bladder several times, but it had never been investigated. The woman didn't have any blood in her urine, nor was she suffering from urinary incontinence, the report said. Now to a foreign story coming from invasion of Ukraine by Russia. An imposter posing as Ukraine's prime minister tricked his way into a video call with the UK's defense secretary in a suspected Russian plot. Ben Wallace ordered an immediate inquiry into the security breach yesterday. The ops call saw Mr. Wallace engage for about 10 minutes with a man who appeared to have gone through a lot of trouble to look like the real Ukrainian premier, Denis Skmar, a defense source said. A Ukrainian flag had been placed behind the imposter as part of the ruse, and the man had used fake details from the Ukrainian embassy to appear authentic. The imposter asked questions related to Ukraine's foreign policy, but Mr. Wallace, who was on a visit to Poland when he took the call, soon became suspicious when the queries became more wild, the source added. At one point, he asked the defense secretary, "Did you get the substance we had sent?" Mr. Wallace responded by saying he did not know what the man was talking about. The fraudster also started mentioning various names of people who the defense secretary had not heard of. According to the source, the call was promptly terminated. The Ministry of Defense decided to make the existence of the bogus call public to expose the tactic. Posted on Twitter on Thursday afternoon, Mr. Wallace wrote, "Today an attempt was made by an imposter claiming to be Ukrainian PM to speak with me." Finally, sports story. Nigeria's demands to want to win every match and trophies means coaching the Super Eagles is one of the toughest jobs in the world, Super Eagles head coach Austin Eguavoen stated. Eguavoen, who doubles as the Nigerian Football Federation's technical director, faces a tough task qualifying Nigeria for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, when the Eagles face the Black Stars later this month in the final qualifiers. The three-time African champions traveled to Ghana for the fourth leg of their mouth-watering encounter March 25th before hosting their arch rivals 4 days later at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja. In an interview with Electoral TV, Eguavoen admitted that managing the national team is a tough job, but called on the football faithful to support the team. It's very tough because we are humans and are very demanding, Eguavoen told Electoral TV. And we are a football nation, which is normal. We don't want to settle for less. We always want to go for the best, and by so doing, we want to win every trophy available. To be saddled with the responsibility, I think, is a very tough one. There will be critics everywhere, left and right and center definitely, but the ability to be able to hold on and shed more things away and remain focused determines our loss. We will remain focused, but our only appeal to people is to not discourage us, but to always encourage and support us, because things like this, if a person isn't strong, it can throw him off guard. But I'm focused and I know I have a lot of fans out there. Thumbs up to them. I love everybody and we'll celebrate together after the two-legged games. Eguavoen stated. That was the world news, but before we go, a quick recap of the headlines once again. Electoral Act, court orders Malami to delete section 8412, gives reasons. ASU rollover strike, Bauchi traders landlords grown as varsity students vacate hostels. It's worrisome to have 10.5 million out-of-school children in Nigeria, Badabia Mila. Women Coalition storms Ogun Assembly, demands more access to healthcare governance. Tension averted at FMC as court dismisses disqualification suit against ND Musa Olumu. NURTW crisis won't threaten security, Lagos government assures. FRAN confirms immigration officers extorted 14-year-old girl. Glass tumbler found in woman's bladder 4 years after she used it as a sex toy. Foreign story, UK slams Russian dirty tricks as fake Ukrainian PM calls defense secretary. And finally sport, Nigerians want to win every trophy, Eguavoen. Thank you for watching. For more updates on our YouTube, the handle is Babagide Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell, select option all. On Facebook, Bagide Imo _ I beg your pardon. On Facebook, Bagide Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page to access our updates. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For other placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and function, both outdoor, the phone number streaming on your screen is a direct line to call strictly for advert placement. Keep watching out for the birthday celebration of Bagede Imo live on our channel. I am Moribe Rebila Lawal. Good evening, Jumak Mofida, to all fellow Muslim brothers all across the world. Good evening. Thank you once again.